Prodigy certainly have not sold more than 10 million copies of their records based solely on their fresh, clean, good looks. Their appeal may be somewhat inexplicable and outrageous to the older generation, but their younger following in the rave subculture think they're massive. Stuart Erving went along and chatted to them in London to gain greater insight into their rather alternative appeal.
I'm a fire starter, twisted fire starter.
Punk may be dead, but the attitude lives on in new 90s bands like the Prodigy.
The punk element does come into it, you know, not always labelled, but it does creep in there from time to time. Be quite honest, it's not important to us to get a label and a good one. You know, we come up with kind of electronic punk.
Spiky-haired Keith might be the front man, but Liam Howley's the band's creative driving force.
It's the fact that anyone can do it, anyone can have a go. You know, that's the whole sort of punk rock ethic behind the whole...
The crowd surfers that don't get chucked off stage, the touchable people,
yeah.
You know, the real people, no stardom.
Formed in 1990, the band evolved out of the UK's rave culture and achieved almost instant success on the dance charts. Although mainstream audiences in South Africa might not be that familiar with their earlier material, they were already well established in Britain before Firestarter hit #1 last year.
I think a lot of bands mess up when they first have chart success. They see this whole thing as like glamour, when it isn't really.
Our glamour comes from being on stage, you know, everything that we take from it and everything we give is in that live show. It's all there to go on stage and perform and have fun and get your message across, get your, you know, the extensions of each person's personalities across. You know, our rewards don't come with limos, with, you know... The usual trappings, yeah. Exactly.
Despite their extensive use of technology, they're still fiercely proud of their reputation as a live band. Their focus is on performing, and they've smashed through conventions by freely interchanging roles and instruments.
When people say live band, I think it conjures up the wrong impression of the Prodigy, especially people in South Africa who haven't ever seen us play before. It's just not conventional, so it's hard for people to grasp it, especially people in America, when they expect to see
just the word
bass
band.
Guitar, drums, all that type of stuff. When it's a rock band for the 90s, it's a new thing. This is something new, you know?
I mean, band, universally, I mean, just puts this misconception in people's heads that it's got to be a drummer
and
bass player, lead, and a vocalist. Yeah.
Creating an energy is our buzz, you know, and a lot of people sort of like judge us on bits of music or what they read and things like that. And to get the complete picture, you've got to see the show, you know, because at the end of the day, the words that we say can be twisted in the press or anything, so you can't take anything at face value unless you come and see the show and make the connection as to why, you know, like Liam's music is hard and why it relates to it on the live show.
I got the poison.
I got the remedy. Pulsate and rhythmical remedy. I got the remedy. Pulsate and rhythmical remedy.
If you're signed to a major label, you can get caught up in the thing they tell you what to wear. You know, they try to design you, basically, because basically all it is marketing. They need to sell you your product. You know, they tell you what to wear, they tell you where to go, they tell you who to be seen with. Do you know what I mean? We don't get caught up in that. Do you know what I mean? Everything you see, it's just us, and it's the way we want to look, and it's just for people real.
I'm a fire starter, twisted fire starter. You're a fire starter, twisted fire starter.
we also don't want people to forget about rock music, and I mean, we're a bridging gap between rock and dance. That is so separated in America. Like in the rest of the world, those two things can come together. I mean, number one, we're a dance band. We are considered to be like a rock band for the 90s. We're like, but not even banned in a traditional thing. It's just like completely off the wall, you know, the whole concept of the Prodigy.
They've just returned from touring the States, but they actually turned down the chance to be opening act for U2 because they didn't want to lose the energy they create in smaller live venues.
America's such a different place, but we're not prepared to change us, to make us different, to fit in. If people don't take us for what we are with this album, then they're not really with the Prodigy, you know.
You know, once you get into the arena stage, you forget where you started out from and what you was about, you know, and it was about the sound, and it was about the intensity of the crowd, and it was about the closeness of the crowd. And, you know, we don't want to lose that.
We don't get bored with it, you know, it's a vibe. We go back, if we go to a country and it rocked, and we don't look at the record sales to work out where we're going and when. We look at the, you know, the crowd reaction.